Hi there. Welcome to Tech Talk Weekly. I'm Bob from Creation Station. This is our weekly show where we give you 4 or 5 interesting topics in the news and science and technology and get you on your way in about 20 minutes. If there's a story you'd like to see covered, reach out to us. Creation Station at broward.org comes right to me. And no guest this week. We have a little bit of working with our new summer worker program that just started yesterday. So we'll be working with them, and you'll be seeing, as is traditional for our show, all the teens in the area that work at the library over the summer. So we'll have all them on soon enough. We do have some fun stories today, including, do you have a Honda? Honda is a rocket company now. This is very much a surprise. This just happened yesterday, and it is Honda has created a spaceship that has the ability to launch and the ability to return, and it has not gone up into full orbit yet. So they have not done all of that yet. We do have, of course, it's in the show notes there for you to see the actual timing of it. But Honda had announced this a while back, earlier this decade, that by 2030, they would have a full space program. And it turns out they hit it really, really fast. So now we have somebody else competing with SpaceX next decade. This is not something that's going to happen tomorrow. This is not something that's going to change anything for getting to the space station anytime soon. But I do want to point out that other countries are working on this kind of stuff as we all talk about all the different changes that are going on at NASA and all the other things here. And it was a really nice surprise to find out this morning that they pulled that off yesterday. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Next, we have haptic VR. If you've taken our virtual reality classes here at the library or heard us talk about this over the years, haptic feedback, if you're not familiar with the term, is what you feel on your phone. When you're on your phone and you tap those buttons and you feel that keyboard under your finger or whatever, that is haptic feedback. It's a flat piece of glass. There's nothing really there for you to type on, but you feel like you're typing. Or another good example are game controllers. So people who are doing game controller stuff often get in and do the feedback on the joysticks, and your controller will shake, etc., and stuff like that. That's what haptic feedback is. So there is a new set of haptic feedback out for VR. It's really interesting. It's really useful. It's a glove, it's a vest, and it's armbands to make it all about it. And so it's not so much about gaming, although it is for gaming because that's how a lot of stuff in these fields work. The first things that come out are gaming, but it goes beyond that. This is something called Haptics, by the way, is the company that is putting these out. You put on the vest, and as you're in a driving simulation, it'll feel like you're shifting. It'll pull you, it'll tighten, it'll shift around. When you put on the set of gloves, you can feel when you pick up something, when you're doing something. The example the reviewer used here in the story was petting a cat. So you could actually feel that, and you could feel the purring of the cat through the glove as it's going also. So it's a really interesting idea that you're tying your physical senses all together, not only just sight, not only just sound, but touch. We've talked about smell is also available on certain special games and certain consoles. So VR is moving slowly but surely in that place. I know everybody feels like, wait, we were promised this years ago. Yeah, we were. And the headsets have come down in price greatly, and the headsets have shrunk in size greatly. And some of this stuff is moving and getting us there. You can see it's pretty straightforward. And I want to point out on this picture, there's also a copy of an image here of the forearm band that gives you different feedback on your arms and your hand, so that you feel when you actually pick up an object, your fingers will feel that touch and your arm will feel the weight as you're trying to lift something. It's really there. You just can't see it without the right glasses. And we have a story out of Hawaii that people here in Florida are like, please do this. And others are like, wait a minute. So in most cases, you do not want extra mosquitoes around. Certain parts of the United States right now are suffering from West Nile virus. Not a great thing on the East Coast up farther north where they're not normally getting it. However, in Hawaii, they need mosquitoes because humans have moved into so much territory there, and they're islands, and it's not like they can keep growing anything, and taken away habitat from birds and lizards, etc., and they need something to eat. So all of these mosquitoes are being dropped by drones. So imagine the largish size quadcopter, same size that would deliver your package from various delivery services or real estate photo type things on high-end things. And they've got little capsules that they are taking out deep into the woods, deep over the forests and jungles, and dropping so that these canisters shatter, they come apart, and the mosquitoes come out, and the birds can eat them, the lizards can eat them. And it's a really nice way of fixing a problem humans have caused by giving a source of food back and hopefully rebuilding a thing. Now, the other part about this, I know I just said humans are going to introduce this to help fix something we broke. We broke it by introducing mosquitoes in the first place in the 1800s. And all the animals adapted and started eating mosquitoes because we killed off the native insects. And so now they need our mosquitoes. And so it's coming full circle. And it's one of those positive, happy stories. We are fixing things. We are able to help and build an ecosystem back up, which is a really good thing. I like that idea a lot. Now, if you've been on our show, you've paid attention over the past few seasons, you know I tend to talk about healthcare things, especially tracking, especially what you're going to be doing in that. Turns out not all tracking is good. And we're not talking about revealing a secret base somewhere by letting your tracking data go out, as we reported on a few years ago. In Germany, there is a music festival that is telling people, no, don't bring your smartwatch. Don't bring your fitness tracker. Because they had so many reports from the police and local medical people of accidents, of falls, of high pulse rates, of all these things with all of these watches and trackers going off and causing problems because of the music festival. All the attendees at the festival were doing stuff, and it was just amusing to read this. By the way, World Music Day is June 21st, which is how this story came up in my feeds. So it's an interesting thing. They're seeing 700 to 9. They're seeing 700 extra 999, 911 here in the United States, 999 in the EU. And they had to go through and try and deal with all of this. So they're now asking concert goers, do not bring your smartwatch, do not bring your fitness tracker, or at least turn them off. I did check that. On Android, I did not see a way to do an active pause on a fitness watch. I don't use Android. I use a different one. Mine does not track that. Mine has no way of untracking that because of the healthcare stuff. I don't know about Apple Watches. Somebody could write in and let us know if Apple Watch has a way of turning it off for a specified amount of time. It's fun. It's quirky. It's different. I like it. I'm trying to avoid the next story. Our next story, local story from down here in South Florida. We have a judge that is in judicial review, not quite a trial. It is a thing about how your conduct on the bench is and what you're doing as a judge. And she has had an issue with her election. And one of the things that makes it a tech story is she used AI deepfake compilation, we'll say a tool, to compile some fake reviews. And she used a book that didn't quite exist yet. She hadn't read the book. She hadn't done anything with it. And she had a thing saying, there's all this talk about this book, but there wasn't. And it's unclear whether it was an intentional lie, whether it was something that AI made up. And the definite thing is someone used a deepfake voice as an endorsement ad for her. Obviously not good. Never should happen in the first place for anyone, anywhere. And be aware of who's listening or what you're listening to, I suppose, is a better way of phrasing that. I want you to think about that. If you're hearing someone say something that you're not sure about, and we talked about this just 2 months ago on the show about elder care and how some people are using these things to try and scam people, etc. You need to watch out for those sorts of things and listen and know what you're listening to and why. I do believe we are currently in an area of time where going back to live and in person is the way to go, to trust things, to watch, because you can be there in front of the person listening and talking and seeing, and nobody can easily, almost no way to modify that information and change it. So pay attention again, look around. And if it sounds too good to be true, well, you know what that means. Our final story today, we're going to fly through these for you and get you out of here, is your brain glows. It turns out that human brains in particular, the electrical activity in our brains is strong enough to show up with the proper material to see it outside of the skull. Now, this is not, first things first, this is not infrared. I can bet someone's like, put on a pair of infrared glasses. I can, of course, see your brain glowing. That's just overheating. That's not the actual brain. That's just our normal body temperatures and stuff like that. This is an actual luminescence that happens in your neurons. If you've seen those animations of a brain and the little, crackling electricity that zooms through the electrons as a thought goes through, it turns out that's real. It turns out that is an actual thing that is happening as the impulses are going from neuron to neuron. They are emitting light that we didn't know about until very recently. And the reason why we didn't know about it is because you normally would have to have the brain open up somebody's skull to see what's inside of there and do it that way. And number two is that bioluminescence is something that only happens when you're thinking. Pause, think about that, pun intended, because certain automatic reflexes like breathing, they are not clear whether it actually causes your brain to light up or not. But when you are thinking, when you are listening to me and processing this, your brain now is lighting up. And if they have the right materials, which they can scan through your skull, they don't need to be sticking anything into your skull, at least eventually, they will be able to test this, like brainwaves. We've talked about other brainwave type of activities also, but this is a light up thing instead. So you're only dealing with light and very faint light that can be seen through the skull with the right equipment. So the whole idea of who controls, who's in charge of your brain waves, who has the right to those. We talked about this back in 2023. Peru passed a law saying you have the right to your own brainwaves. Nobody else has a right to them. Nobody else can copy them, track them, take them, keep them as a record of anything unless you give your permission. Still, 2 years later, the only country on the planet that has that law on the books. This gives us another reason why somebody should be looking into this and saying, hey, wait, maybe we should be protecting people's privacy this way also. Because if I can sense not necessarily your thoughts, but that you're thinking, and now you're thinking about something intensely or not intensely based on the amount of light coming out of your head, and I don't have to be even near you, I don't even have to be next to you if I've got the right equipment, I just scan the room around you and pick up the extra radiation going on. Now that we know it's there, you know that's going to happen sooner or later. So think about that. This is one of those great science stories that you need funding for. You need to do these things. You need to keep exploring to find out what's the next step. What's the new thing going on? That's our show for today. Next week, we will be back. We'll have one of the summer workers from, I forget which creation station I have on next week. But we will be doing this again. Please let us know if you have a story that you'd like us to cover, creationstation@broward.org, and or what locations you would like to see featured. And we'll see everybody next week. Have a happy Juneteenth. Go celebrate. It's important.